everyone. So this is going to be a little bit of a disjointed kind of video because I've got, where did that go? I'm actually making some cyanotype prints today. I've got 5 minutes before I have to go take this one in from the sun. I was going to talk a little bit about this book, This Organic Life, because Jackie had asked me to do a book review on it. And in the meantime, I had showed my fermented sodas that I was making. They both turned out well and got like a lot more carbonated than I thought they would. I opened up one of the straight ginger beers, and I lost probably a good 75% of it all over my kitchen into my front hallway. So now when I open them up, I drape a cloth on top. But this is the one with the hibiscus, and it's very good, but it's really strong. Next time I'll use a little bit less ginger, but I haven't been doing my anti-inflammatory chai lately. I've been having such a problem with sleep that I've been resorting to my caffeine almost every morning, which is in the form of tea because coffee really doesn't agree with me. But in any case, so I wanted some of my ginger, so the fermented sodas are a good way to go. And so, This Organic Life. So, what's her name? Jane Gussow has been a writer for many years. If I could read her little bio to you, that would give you a good sense of who she is. She's done a lot of writing for mainstream publications, mostly about food and our food system and nutrition and that sort of thing. And how her experiment with suburban homesteading, or whatever you want to call it, came about was because she was talking a lot about the food system that we have developed here, particularly in this country, and how we actually have pretty cheap food, but there really is no such thing as cheap because there's always a cost somewhere. And particularly when food is being shipped in from long distances, there's obviously a lot of it's a pretty significant carbon footprint. So as she was talking about all this stuff, she decided she had to see what she could do for herself as far as producing food locally. So she talks in this book she talks a little bit about their first garden, which was in Conyers, New York, and then how they moved to another piece of land that it's actually not, maybe it was a half acre even, but it was like right on the Hudson River in Piermont. And she just kind of talks about her experience and her experiment, if you will, with seeing how much food she could produce for herself. And I mean, she went to the extent of building a root cellar, which in the new house that they built actually was more like a closet. She talks about having to cure, how they cured the sweet potatoes, and if you don't cure them right, they rot. And she's pretty detailed in talking about her experimentation with being self-sustaining, I guess, and they never bought vegetables. And then they also produce their fruit. She talks a lot about eating in season and how we've become used to eating out of season because of shipping stuff everywhere. She talks a lot about the difference in the way produce tastes when you get it locally. There's a smattering of recipes in here as well. And it's not super linear. Sometimes she kind of goes back and forth in time. She talks a little bit about the fact that her husband died just a couple years after they moved to this new piece of property. She talks about community gardens. She talks about just trying to get people interested in how important how important food sourcing is, and how important sourcing your food locally is. Okay, I'm gonna have to stop. So I'm back. I'm not gonna make this like super long because I don't have like a real photographic memory when I read something. It's more for me what I take away from it, how it makes me feel. And this just made me excited to garden. It stressed the importance or reaffirmed my sense of how critical it kind of is for us to revamp our food system and get back to sourcing our food locally if we're not going to grow it ourselves. The whole idea for her was, so if she could produce enough of the produce that she used, or almost all of it, on her own, half acre in New York State, then it should be possible for there to be, if somebody can't actually grow it themselves, if they don't, have the land or access to a community garden, that there should be throughout whatever regions people are living in, it is possible to have a local grower of our food, and how that will make food taste better, how that will leave less of a carbon footprint. And then, of course, there's the whole issue of water. The last chapter, she talks a lot about California. And, if particularly Southern California, if they hadn't stole, whatever, the water from the Owens Valley, was it? You wouldn't have what you have in Southern California. She actually grew up in Orange County, and she talks about the orange groves and how that's all changed. It's very, very interesting. She talks a little bit about how the quality of, she says an interesting thing in here. I do remember my mother complaining about the way vegetables declined in quality during World War II when the Japanese farmers were taken away to internment camps. But where the Japanese and their successors on the land grew, our vegetables remained unspecified. She was just saying she didn't even know where they came from. The Central Valley is not naturally suited to growing everything that grows. It's only because the water is brought in artificially. And she wrote this even before the issue of the drought. And that isn't to say that, California produce is going to go away. It's to say that we really shouldn't be relying on it the way we are, throughout the country. I mean, I myself, when I go to the grocery store and I buy something and it's from California, I kind of go, oh. So peaches have been in the market lately. So I'm specifically buying Eastern peaches, so that, and as it turns out, they're cheaper and they're actually pretty good, because they're more local to where I'm living. So it's a really good book. I mean, she's got a lot of good New York Times, Michael Pollan, Boston Globe. They all had really good things about it. I'll read what Michael Pollan says because I really like Michael Pollan. He says, based on a delicious literary recipe, 1 part memoir, 1 part manual, 1 part manifesto, this organic life gives flesh to ideas about reforming our food supply that deserve not only to be heard, but tried out in the backyard. Yet this book is not only nutritious, Joan Gussow is the best of company on the page, by turns funny, poignant, and wise. So there you go. There's the synopsis of this book. And I trust Michael Pollan. I like Michael Pollan. So that's it for the book review. I'm going to take my print out of the rinse water, and I'll get my Bloggy, and I'm going to show you the prints I made today. And then I might, since it's actually sunny, yay, it's sunny, I'll show you more of how the garden's doing. Okie doke. So here's kind of the aftermath. I was flattening and drying some of the botanical material a little bit before I made the prints. So I'll show you the prints I made today. I did 3 from the herb series and 1 from the flower series. So I have Angelica. Here's the Angelica print. And I have Valerian. Back there is Comfrey. And here's from the flower series. This one is the Linaria, money plant, or it's also called Honesty. Colette from Belton Cottage talks a lot about that. So those are my prints that I finally got around to doing because I actually have a little bit of motivation and the sun has come back out. So let's go look at the garden. Mostly the front garden, but I might show you out here too. Here's my bouquet from the yard, which is valerian blossoms and larkspur. And let's see, I don't know if I actually took you out to see the plants the other day. Here are the red runner beans, which they're kind of spindly because this only gets bright sun like this a little bit during the day. And everything out here is kind of just sort of eking along right now because we're just now finally getting some warm sunny weather. I think I have to replant the beans because they got so chewed up. And something, unfortunately, chewed up some of my, well, that one's still intact, but I did find one of my little bitter melon plants gotten. There's another one there. Why do these plants even want this? It must be so bitter. But what I might do is, what the hell? Oh, something's coming off of my camera. I might replant those too. My grape is growing a little bit, but out here, so this is sort of meh back here, but it's just been like super damp, and you poor thing, oh my goodness, dreary and cloudy, so yeah. But like I showed you the other day, this guy's getting new growth, and my rose geranium's done really well. And I've got a few of the asparagus that have come up that, of course, this, you don't pick them the first year or whatever, but there's a few of them in there coming up, so that's good. Feverfew nettles. I'm just letting that one spread. And that's wintergreen, and then there's another wintergreen back there. And this has taken really nicely. I must have dug it up properly. And yeah, so it's looking good. Need to get a trellis for it. So that is a black, thornless black blackberry. And these two are raspberries. One's a yellow one and one's a red one, but they're still pretty tiny. They were cheap. They were like $6. I got them bare root. And there's one blueberry and another blueberry and another fig. That one is a Chicago hardy fig. The other ones I have out front are brown turkey. So this is my little archway with the lights on, and the hops are doing okay. You know, they're growing up it, so I might give them a little dressing of some compost or worm castings or something. And there's this guy's doing okay. That's the Mexican marigold. The goji is not doing well, and I may dig it up and transplant it. A little bit more runner beans here that also don't get quite enough sun. My shade is really, it's really pretty challenging to grow in this much shade, but I'm trying. I thought my lemon verbena was dead, but it's coming back. Gooseberry didn't blossom or anything this year, but that's all right. I might get another one, tuck it in here and there. I'm kind of getting on this tangent of just stuffing plants everywhere. California mugwort and some different flowers. So I have some snapdragons here, and some nasturtium. The lily of the valley are all bloomed out now. I have wild grape coming up all over the place, and from what I understand, it can be eaten. And I tried one of the tendrils, and they're very lemony. A little bit of rhubarb there, peonies. Lots more growth coming out on the Rosa Canina, so that makes me very happy. That one, and another one here. They're very stickery roses though, but you stay inside this way so we get nice and thick in there. A stilby coming up at the back that I planted roots from. Got a little variety of pansies and violas and impatiens. Here's the black currant that it's growing nicely. It just doesn't have much fruit this year. Maybe I'll try and, I wonder if I can try and do a start from it instead of buying another one. And this one too, which is kind of, it's doing better now. Another stilby. Here's some morning glories. I find sticks in my yard and I use them for steaks sometimes. These are getting a little chewed up now, but if they start, once they start growing they should be all right. They also need a little side dressing of something or other. Little potted plants out front. Tansy. And there's the tea plant. You've seen all of these, but you get to see how they're growing. A little bit more. I'll still be back there. This is sweet woodruff, and that's spreading nicely. I think these are like forget-me-nots. Jewelweed. There's some columbine. I think Colette calls them aquilegia. Chase tree is doing nicely. More jewelweed. More sweet woodruff. And the buds just keep getting bigger on the elder. My one out back I don't think is going to bloom again. I'm going to pick some of my mugwort soon. I want to make a infused mugwort oil to mix with some of my comfrey oil to see. I want to experiment using that for tendon pain and stiffness. And I also want to do another cyanotype using the mugwort. And the grasses, the oat grass, more morning glory, a little bit of basil, and that tomato's going pretty well. I think these are, I think those are tomatillo that came up from last year when I dropped some. The file seems to get corrupted. So these are all poppies of some sort, and they're getting ready to put up heads. And I've got, so there's comfrey in here right there, and that's comfrey. I have like 5 comfrey plants. This is more of the honesty. And I have prairie echinacea in here, but I think the really damp weather did not suit it. So, and the soil's really heavy here still. But, so that's what I've got going here. I've got some tomatillos there. I got to get a cage for those. And a couple more over here. And let's pick this up. This is my path for the wheelbarrow when I get my compost from over there. Let's see. I had one. It's already faded. But I had one little California poppy bloom yesterday. I have some okra in here. There's a little one. There's another little one. They get to be very pretty plants. This one, there, and that one's getting pretty chewed up, but that's okay. I think this is yellow dock, and I probably should not let it bloom, because then I'll be having it everywhere. Cucumbers are growing here. They're doing okay. They should start putting out some growth now that we've got sun and the soil is plenty damp. Warmth. Yarrow, feverfew. And there's a bunch of echinacea here. Coneflower. I've tucked some more eggplant in here and here. This is Jerusalem artichoke. All these guys were coming up and I didn't know what they were, and now I realize they're Jerusalem artichoke, so yay. I like those almost as much for the flower as I do for the tuber. One of my poor little chewed up peppers, but I think they will do better once they can put out some real growth here, and I might give them all a side dressing of maybe some worm castings and mushroom compost. There's another eggplant there. These hollyhocks are from last year. Another pepper that's kind of eking along. 2 of my flat leaf parsley. And I'm going to get some strawberries, I think, from the farmer's market. And I'm going to pick some rhubarb and make a strawberry rhubarb compote. This is my catnip, which I was thinking I need to do an art piece with too. I have to do a cyanotype with that. I think the greens are kind of doing okay. I might find something else to plant in here. Okay, I just showed you this whole area and it didn't record. So we were here and I was showing you the mints here and some red clover there. My clover lawn. These are all mints. That's a really healthy sage. Another sage. Oregano. And there's some marjoram there. The melissas are doing very well, as is the agrimony, which is getting ready to spike and bloom. There's a little bit more. That's another okra, another little pepper right there. Another, these are all the thymes along here. There's different herbs and flowers all in here. Eggplant is getting blossoms. This one and that one too. Hey, how you doing? All right, well that was my neighbor. And Avery heard her, so now Avery will come out front. She's gonna do some dog sitting for me too. All right, now let's see, where were we? Boy, is this gonna be a disjointed video. I'm trying to slow down because I understood what Jackie said in her other video about going so fast. And so I'm purposely trying to slow down too, although I hope I'm not boring you. So, the eggplant, the yarrow, good crop of lavender coming, and the wormwood's doing well, and the horseradish. So here are the tomatoes and peppers I put in along here. So I've dug up this section right along here, and what I want to do is get this much dug up all the way to here. And so, I mean, eventually I'd like it to go all the way like to here, but this year I'll probably only get to here with this one. And along here are the larkspur and the hollyhocks. And that's where I had the shrubs taken out, and we'll put in a few more things. But these figs are doing okay, those three. And I left in some sassafras, so I have sassafras root and can dry the leaves. That grows wild. I'll probably take out that holly too. Here's another dogwood, but I guess technically it's on my property. And here's just this little cluster of flowers right here. I was trying to get this clematis to grow up, but it's staying down there for now because of all the daylilies, which are starting to bloom. So over here you can see the buckwheat's coming up. So this will be a nice little stand of buckwheat that I can turn under, and everything will rot underneath, so it'll go through the cardboard eventually. Put in some poppy seeds in here too, but I don't know what's going to happen with them. I haven't had... Oh my goodness. I think they're coming up in there. Oh, poppies and buckwheat. How perfect. Sorry. So, but for here, for this year, what I want to do with this one is do the cardboard and mulch method along here. If I can, I do it all the way out to meet here. And then I would take this one from this side, so this whole section here will be another bed. But I'm not sure, I don't think I'm going to have enough wood chips left, and I don't have enough cardboard right now, so this is just going to be piecemeal. If I could get it to here, and maybe through here, I would be happy. Well, you know, whatever. I'll be happy with whatever I get done. And then there's still a lot of hard wood from the tree in here, so I'll probably be planting a lot of shallow rooted stuff right on top of there. Here I've got some squash, some plants that I bought, and then I stuck seeds in, so there's a lot of it growing. I don't know how much of it I'll leave. I threw a bunch of, what did I put in here? Fennel, basil, parsley. Was that it? I don't know what else I threw in there. So I just threw the seeds in. We'll see what comes up. Got some more basil and peppers. I don't remember which ones they are. I think they're one of my chilies. And some sunflowers and hollyhocks. This is a Greek mountain tea. I couldn't remember what it was last time. It makes a really nice herbal tea. Almost tastes like a green tea, but does not have any caffeine. And there's the little lavender. And here's some poppies that I started in pots. So they're finally taking, which is good. and some more calendula there. And then on this side, everything's growing. My first coreopsis is going to open. And I've got my borage blooming. That one's going to bloom too. And here, look at this. This is the chamomile buds. I'm probably going to have to spray some deer repellent. I don't know how tasty these things are for deer. But these are all kinds of flowers in here. Poppies and bachelor buttons and sunflowers and cosmos. And I put dill in there too. That's the elecampane and the mullein. And this is all calendula. And a couple more basil here. And the cosmos are growing along here. And the nasturtiums are growing. And there's the extra Avery. Lavender. All these are calendulas and nasturtiums. More flowers. And then there's all the valerian. There's some horehound in there too. There's my comfrey. And Avery, she just walks on top of all the plants. She doesn't care. These angelica are growing nicely. These ashitaba are growing pretty nicely too. Everything in here is doing okay. The meadowsweet, caraway, tansy. And so I'm going to have lots of seeds from this angelica, which is good. And I'll sow those seeds and then dig the root, I guess, this year. Lots of little baby feverfew coming up in here. There's the marshmallow. And of course the motherwort is starting to bloom. So the bees will like that. And here's all the St. John's wort through here. And that's about it. As I was digging to plant the little things on the side of the house there, I was running into more river rock. So I'm collecting the river rock to put an edging on my little throne platform. So I think that's about it. I don't want to make this like too much longer. I think that's good enough. I've been seeing little lizards, so that's good. We had a bunny the other day in the backyard. I think they live under my shed, and Avery was quite delighted to have a bunny to chase after. There's chipmunks everywhere. And the stuff that's growing back here is it's been too shady and cool. I mean, it likes shade, but it likes warmth, a lot of these things, and so they've just been growing kind of slowly. But I want to get this area a little bit more in shape. See if I can control some of the chewing insects. And I was thinking it would be really nice to get a little fire pit for out here. Not that we're really going to need it once it starts getting warm. Oh yeah, there was a chipmunk in here the other day too. So I'm just going to stop here and finish up the video. So that's the video tour. Today was pretty good. I got a decent amount of things done. Let's see, I got 4 prints done. I learned Mahjong. My other neighbor had me come over and taught me Mahjong. And I have to wait, and it's going to be another week before I hear back on any of the calls for entry. I'll get back out in the garden maybe tomorrow. I really am thinking I'm really kind of getting into thinking about production mode for my artwork. I actually came up with a couple other ideas and was shooting some preliminary pictures to make negatives with, more in the kind of Eastern European folklore, Baba Yaga-ish series that I've been doing. So I have to print those out on transparencies to make the negatives, and then start picking my botanicals to use. I may pick some more botanicals today because it's easier if I let them dry a little bit and flatten them out to use on the cyanotypes, so there's not condensation on the paper when I'm printing it. So that's it. I hope that was a good garden tour, a little bit more leisurely than some of my other ones. And I'm gonna enjoy the rest of this day. I have Aikido tonight. I gotta think about what kind of food I want to leave myself before I go, but yeah, all right, take it easy, folks.